Grandmaster Nightfalls are coming to Destiny in about a week and a half, but Bungie has outlined some information recently about what to expect with GM Nightfalls upon their release. So let's take a look at what they said. First, we'll talk about the level requirement. It appears that it'll no longer be 1060, but rather 1050. However, you'll need to be power level 1025 to even attempt Grandmaster, at least that's what it seems like, which means you're going to need quite a few artifact power levels under your belt and some pinnacle gear to even get in there, much less stand a chance. But Bungie will be reintroducing a contest mode style variant modifier that makes it so any levels above 1025 do not contribute anything at all. So the highest you can be in the Grandmaster is 1025, meaning the smallest level gap between you and GM Nightfalls is 25 levels. We'll talk about that in the second half. As shown in-game, GM Nightfalls will come with Extinguish, where if you wipe, you go back to orbit. Limited Revives, where you start with some revives and then get more whenever you kill a champion, among others. I'm not super worried about the limited revives right now because it sounds like GM Nightfalls are going to be jam-packed full of champions, as seen in-game with the Oops All Champions modifier, unless that changes. As for the rewards for doing a GM Nightfall, increased chances of exotic armor and masterworking materials. We'll talk about that later. The main draw is the new seal/title, Conqueror, which requires a completion of each of the 6 GM Nightfalls during the season. As confirmed on Reddit by Cosmo, community manager, Conqueror will be available next season as well. It is not only for Season 10, much like the Flawless title, although I assume progress may be reset every season, similar to other seasonal goals that we've had in the past, but I cannot confirm that right now. Bungie lists some goals for GM Nightfalls. Number 1, build on Master difficulty, but be significantly more challenging. I'm pretty on board with this. 1050 should be harder than 1030. That's fine. Number 2, once a bar is hit, challenge comes from perfecting builds, communication, and execution. This also makes sense. Once you've gone as high as you can go from a leveling perspective, the game becomes about efficiency and stats and, seeing how quickly you can do things or how fast you can kill stuff, those kinds of things. Number 3, primary rewards should be given out on initial completion. Yes, but repeat runs should also be rewarded. We'll get to rewards later. But I understand if they want to dish out the bulk of the rewards on the first completion, as only the mega hardcore are even going to consider running multiple GM Nightfalls in an attempt to farm them for their rewards. I'm going to skip number 4 for a second. Number 5, Grandmaster should stress the top end of build crafting. Yep, that goes in line with what I said for number 2. You can only get so strong in Grandmaster, so perfecting a build will be the next progression step with regards to becoming stronger. And number 6, Grandmaster should be watchable. I assume this means from a live streaming or video perspective, and I agree there, but I don't think it really should take precedence over other things. It doesn't sound like it does, so this seems fine. We're going to loop back to number 4. Number 4, completion should be the primary metric for success rather than score or time or other metrics. This is where the replayability factor is going to be hurt a little bit. While I agree that initially completion should be the primary metric, having those secondary things like score, time, or a rating based on both should also be represented in the game in some way. Points number 2 and 5 stress the importance of builds and execution and skill in GM Nightfalls. But if the only point of GM Nightfalls is to merely complete them one time for the title, what is the incentive to keep trying to perfect your runs? Farming them? Because as of right now, I'm not really taking increased chances at exotic armor and masterwork materials as anything really substantial. Obviously, we need to wait until these are in-game to see what kinds of rewards are going to be dropping versus the time invested before we can come to any real conclusions. But if I can run 3 Master Nightfalls easily in the time that it takes me to run 1 GM Nightfall, and it's going to be more efficient to run Master Nightfalls, well, Grandmaster, to me, would not be a huge success. If I run a GM Nightfall and only get some enhancement prisms as a reward, we're going to have a problem. You know, I'm thinking double drops like Warden of Nothing was doing, at the least. If Master is better efficiency-wise, GM is going to be dropped the moment the title is earned, assuming no changes. I don't want to see GM Nightfall be done after I yoink the title. Use GM Nightfalls as an opportunity to give PvE players a competitive experience outside of the World First Raid. Make score and time matter for things, because right now there's no point to score and time other than hitting 100k for a pinnacle reward, but you might as well take that out at this point and just turn the 100k pinnacle into run the Nightfall on Legend for the pinnacle, because that's what most people do anyway. You don't have to do anything special for the 100,000, it's just a matter of which difficulty you need to run it on. Make score and time matter for something for those people looking for something more. As for the contest modifier, I am personally very glad to see it back for multiple reasons. Number 1, I did not want the best way to clear GM Nightfalls to be by being a bounty goblin on the moon, grinding endless monotony. I want it to be through execution and skill, and not because I managed to level up higher like I did with Master Nightfalls. I do feel for people who have been grinding bounties nonstop in an attempt to be as close to 1060 as possible, but hey, at least you can stop grinding now and do something better with your time. I don't know if the change to 1050 was more of a last-minute thing, and that they knew that grinding bounties for levels is boring as hell, or if this was always the plan. Number 2, I've been wanting to see the return of contest mode because, just like I said earlier, it promotes skill and execution over just levels. There should absolutely be things in the game that get easier with time because you get stronger as a player. But having 1 or 2 things exist that always stay the same difficulty, to me, not a bad thing. Just something where you can get better and better because you're learning how to play better, not simply because you leveled up. But it does need to be incentivized properly. I got a question recently about accessibility. Should the GM Nightfall be something that's widely accessible? And my answer is like yes and no. It should be accessible in that a lot of people can attempt it, but it should not be accessible by making it easy enough that you don't really need to put in any effort. The contest modifier certainly helps. Otherwise, this is not really designed for the average person to just walk right into and beat. This seems very much designed for a specific audience of people, and that's fine. When GM Nightfalls come out, I'll probably upload my first completion, and we'll see how much interest there is after 1 or 2 of them. I could probably make some form of a guide video as well per strike. I'm doing a lot of Warmind Cell mod testing right now in Master Nightfalls, so hopefully the mod video can come out soon to see if those are going to be worth using in Master or Grandmaster Nightfalls. But that's all I have on Grandmaster Nightfalls. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.